All right, we're at the 2025 PMOPA Convention at Lake Geneva in Wisconsin. And we've just met so many cool people here. And one of the people that we've not met here, but one we've met a long time ago, and it's good to see again, is Alexander Pichler. I'm so glad to see you here.
Likewise, Joe, it's a pleasure meeting you here and your whole team at the 2025 PMOPA Convention.
Yeah, you know, we brought 8 people here. I mean, we like decided, hey, we're going all out. This is a place we want to really show up and shine. And so we did. I brought a bunch of my team.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun. So, but you've been having dinner with them and talking with them and hanging out. It's just been a bunch of fun to have you just kind of be a part of what we've got going on here. So, you know, I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's nice to see you again. We saw each other the last time, beginning of last year, actually. Time flies, 1.5 years ago. But it's good to see your whole team again and to finally also get to see some faces in real life that I've only been communicating via email and WhatsApp. So it's great. I mean, spending a good time here.
Yeah, and just people have heard your name, they've seen you in the community, you've been around for a while, but pretty much you're buying and selling, helping people sell airplanes over in Europe.
Yep.
And to be truthful, you're buying and selling airplanes in the United States. You'll do it anywhere.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you. Where do you live? What do you do?
So I live in Zurich in Switzerland. I'm an Austrian citizen, but I've moved to Switzerland about 12, 13 years ago. And that was related to a Swiss girlfriend that I had back then. And the relationship, kind of fell apart, but I decided
But you fell in love with the place.
I fell in love with the place, and I fell in love with a different Swiss girl. So
okay.
Also aviation related. I stayed in Switzerland because I had the chance to fly on a Citation jet, C525, privately owned on behalf of a local family. Initially as the co-pilot and then later on upgraded to captain, so you some jet experience.
Yeah, so I mean you're not just a sales guy that's in this space, you're doing a lot of flying.
Yes.
Yeah, you're flying jets, flying other stuff, pretty much, are you flying all the PA-46s?
Yeah, I would say mainly the turbine versions, so being the jet prop, the Meridian, the M500 and the M600. I've built a few hours of experience on the M700, which is pretty similar to the M600 as we both know.
Not far, it's just a little more powerful and a few nice amenities, but other than that, it's very similar.
Exactly, and as part of my aircraft brokerage, I prefer to only buy and sell the airplanes that I fly myself, because I don't consider it to be that helpful to a customer when he would walk up to you and say, hey, can you tell me about the flying characteristics of a Baron or a Cessna 421, an aircraft that you've never maybe flown before. Right. So I prefer to stick to the PA-46 turbines and the Citation jet.
Okay, so how'd you enter into this market? I mean, what got you, how'd you get here, man?
Well, it all started when I was 15 years old. I showed a huge interest in aviation, and I was able to start with my private pilot license. And carrying on with the instrument rating, I came across a dentist that was in the classroom with me who had a PA-28 back then and saying, Alex, you show so much passion for aviation. Would you be interested in helping me selling my airplane? I'll give you all the documents. And I was like, yeah, sure, let me try to do that. And I was able to sell that airplane fairly quick, and then helped him to buy a Piper Seneca. And as part of that deal, I was allowed to join him on a lot of trips. So I was 18 years old and I was able to build a few hundred hours on the Piper Seneca. And then it was word of mouth. He had recommended my services to friends in his community. And that way, I came across someone who had a 1995 Piper Malibu Mirage. And that's the first time I heard about this unique airframe. And this guy wanted to sell it because he wanted to upgrade to the jet prop.
There you go.
But back then, he didn't want to spend the money to convert his own 95 airframe. And that's how I found out about the unique jet prop STC, how great that aircraft is.
Fell in love with it.
And that was love at first sight.
It was love at first sight.
Exactly.
I do. I was the same way. I flew a Mirage for a long time and longed to fly the jet prop in a real fashion. Yep. And the first time I did, it was like, because I mean, you take the same airframe, you rip off the 350 horsepower, you bolt on 560 horsepower, and all those additional additional horses go into performance.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes this rather ho-hum airplane. It's a good airplane,
Yep.
but rather ho-hum
Yeah.
into just a spectacular
Yeah.
airplane,
Yeah.
and just a barrel of fun.
Yeah.
So you kept flying the jet prop, building hours,
Exactly.
and the jet prop led to a Meridian, which led to an M600, and all of a
Yes.
sudden, here you are.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is all you're doing, and I say all you're doing, but I mean, you're a professional salesman and a professional pilot.
Yep, that's exactly right. So I carried on with the instrument rating. I was building my hours on the Seneca and on the jet prop, and I also got to fly a classic Piper Malibu with the piston version, and then carried on with what we have in Europe is the ATPL, the written tests. So they will give you at the end a so-called frozen ATP, which you can unfreeze with the required 1,500 hours, but you will need also 500 hours on a multi-pilot aircraft like the Citation XLS. So I've done all these written tests and then was just carrying on with aircraft brokerage. Never went to an airline. That was actually my ultimate goal, why I started all of that, but then was just stuck with aircraft brokerage and the PA-46 airframe and fell in love with that. And yeah.
So it's a nice place to be.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
All right. So if we talk about you personally, one of the things I found interesting is you're a pretty big bicycler and a pretty big run. I mean, you're fit and
Yeah.
lean and mean and ready to go. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you doing, man?
Whenever time permits, I enjoy going for a run and biking. And then last year, my girlfriend had the idea that we should start running half marathons together.
Oh,
and it was just another thing that caught my attention. And yeah, we ran 6 half marathons since then, within eight months now. And it's a good thing to probably get to know yourself better, because you're running these long distances. And as you know, not every day in the office is the same. But when you decide you want to run 5 miles or 10 miles today,
yeah,
it can be a mental battle. And
Yep.
it also helps in professional life, I would say.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. When you run, running is a mental game.
Yes.
Meaning it's just you. You've got to push yourself. You've got to decide what you're willing to do, and it can't be a group sport in the sense you're running with other people as you are.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you get to decide what your workout looks like, how fast you want to go, and how far you want to go, and all that. I think it's a bunch of fun. I've run. In the military, we ran 3 to 5 miles a lot. That was our normal thing. So I've done a lot of running. I've just now reintroduced running back into what I'm doing, and I'm not doing anything like the miles you're doing, nothing like the pace you're doing, but I find it interesting you're doing biking and running.
Yeah.
And clearly fit and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I think it's very important being a pilot, so not only a salesman, but also actively flying and all the traveling that you and I do and many others in our industry. It's very important to look after your health and to stay ahead of the
It's
game.
too easy to get behind.
Exactly.
I mean, you can see a lot of pilots that don't take care of themselves and they don't have a long career because some medical issue takes them out, and you got to watch out for it. So you're doing a great job as far as that's concerned. Let's talk about flying in Europe, because Americans, I've flown a lot in Europe, but not under an EASA license. I'm not EASA qualified, so everything I fly is an in-reg airplane. But everything you're flying, not everything, but you're obviously EASA qualified. Flying in Europe is a little bit different than in America, especially when it comes to weights of airplanes and type. So for instance, you have to have what equivalent of a type rating to fly a particular type of airplane. You can't jump in a jet prop and then go jump in a Meridian, right?
Yeah, it used to be a long time like that, and it had changed now a few weeks a few weeks ago that EASA finally realized that we have to make it kind of easier for people to transition between the aircraft, insurance being a separate topic, but we cannot ask them to say, okay, we have to fly 10 hours on a PC-12, another 10 hours on a TBM, and to get all these individual ratings on the license.
So it's changed.
Yeah, so it has changed, and it's now a class rating, which is called EASA SET, and it all depends on the instructor who's checking you out at the end of the day.
So is SET single engine turbine?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And
So the idea is you could get in a jet prop and get in a Meridian if you're so trained and capable.
Yes, correct. But there is two things involved. So it will depend on the instructor if he will sign you off, because it might be an instructor who says, okay, I know that you understand the Meridian perfectly fine, but I'm not sure if you should jump into the jet prop and go solo on your own with ever doing a takeoff and landing, having understood the aircraft systems, because you and I know understanding the jet prop systems is somewhat different.
Right.
And then the second thing being insurance, because insurance might very well ask you, oh, you got a lot of experience on the jet prop or in the Meridian, vice versa, but we are not comfortable with letting you fly on your own unless you've done 5 to 10 hours of safety pilot flying.
Right.
Yeah.
And then and understood. We're doing a lot of that same kind of stuff in the United States, in the sense that we have training and safety pilot, recurrent training, things of this nature. We're going to understand that, and Americans will understand that. But in Europe, it's just a little bit different. And talk to me about the difference between a jet prop and a Meridian in terms of popularity in Europe.
I would say for a long time the jet prop had been favored over the Meridian, because we got that special ruling of needing to pay airway fees. So it's like compared with a highway toll charge in the US.
All based on weight.
Weight, yes.
Okay, and just the jet prop being a max gross weight of 4,300 pounds.
Correct.
Meridian being 5,000 more pounds, or no, it's 5,000 pounds plus.
Correct.
Puts the Meridian into that next category where you're going to pay more?
Exactly, where you're going to pay more, and it depends on the country where you fly in Europe of how much they're going to charge you per hour, and it's usually between $70 to $110 an hour. So now you can do the math. If you do 100 hours a year, which is the average amount for a European pilot, that will be an extra $7,000 to $11,000. Compared to you guys in the US who would fly 200 or 300 hours maybe a year, that's a significant expense.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And in the jet prop versus a Meridian, the jet prop is cheaper per hour to fly than a Meridian.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. And so is the jet prop just simply more popular in Europe?
It used to be for a very long time, I would say, but unfortunately, since rocket engineering had stopped offering conversions with the beginning of COVID, as we know, a lot of people are going in the Meridian direction.
They're just afraid that rocket engineering is going to have troubles, and they don't want to be the last one they don't want to be the one where there's no seat after the music stops.
Correct. Which makes the jet prop unfortunately become a more and more exotic aircraft, because we know that 330 had been converted, unfortunately minus the ones that have crashed.
Yeah.
And minus the ones that are operating in South America, where there's no real tie to that community, versus the US and the European community having somewhat of an exchange.
I would guess, pure guess, is that 330 have been made. I bet we've crashed 30 of them.
I would say, yeah.
And I bet you there's 30 or 40 in South America.
Yeah.
That's down to 270. I bet you there's, how many are in Europe, you think?
I would say around 40 to 50 in Europe.
So now we're down to 220, 230 that would be in the United States. That's still a big percentage of jet props that are over in Europe. It's still a fairly popular aircraft over there.
And I would love rocket engineering to continue, or some other company to offer these conversions again.
I would too. We had a meeting with a jet prop breakout session that Darwin attended with via audio. In other words, he talked on the phone to the group and had a speaker that spoke to everybody there. You were in the room. Darwin speaks as if things are going well at Rocket Engineering, and talking about progress and hope for the future and things of this nature. I'm not convinced that he convinced everybody in the room.
No.
And I think that there's a lot of people that think that are just uncertain of what Darwin's going to end up doing at Rocket Engineering and how much longer he can support it and what's going to happen in the future. I'm very optimistic about the jet prop because it's such a great it's such a great conversion.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. It's such a great conversion. I'm doggedly optimistic about it. I just think that there's going to be a home for it. But if I lived in Europe, there's an ocean between you and support. That might be a challenge if things don't go well with Rocket.
Yeah, that's true. That's why we're hoping that Darwin is either going to start converting again on his own, or that he's open to a maintenance shop, or maybe 2-3 maintenance shops that are willing to say, hey, we're willing to offer these conversions on your behalf, but we simply love your product just like many others out there, and we want to see more jet props flying.
Darwin, if you're listening to this, there's at least from across the ocean and here in the United States, we hope you give us a path forward, whether it's starting conversions again or coming up with a plan to be able to do that. I know the chorus of people in that room, and of all the jet prop owners that were sitting in that room, we are hopeful that Darwin gives a clear vision for the path forward of what's going to happen. In the meantime, Meridians are selling well over in Europe?
They do. We have more activity now, I would say. Again, it was a bit slow during the summer, a lot of people on holiday. And now one thing that is a benefit to the European market is that the dollar has softened. So we're looking again at the exchange rate, and it's becoming now more affordable and more tempting again to purchase aircraft in the US. And when it comes to the maintenance status of aircraft that are in the US and in regards of avionics upgrades, they're always more tempting to buy compared to the ones in Europe. Because the US shops, they are, I would say, more energetic about the updates, and there are just more shops out there and simply more aircraft flying and people making these decisions and investments earlier. Yeah. That makes it, for us, attractive to buy very nice airplanes from you.
Yeah. You know, there's some good quality shops over in Europe that are doing a good job. They just don't see the volumes that the shops that in the United States sees in terms of the PA-46. And but I think there's good people doing good stuff over in Europe, just not the volumes that you would see in the United States. And so buying and selling a bunch of aircraft in 2025, active, not active, how's it been?
For me personally, it has been active at the beginning of the year, slowed a bit down in June, and it's picking up now again. I'm fortunate to return next week to the US to look at a Meridian with a nicely retrofitted panel, and then a jet prop hopefully 2 weeks later. And I'm looking for another jet prop, and I'm still waiting for our first deal to happen, which would be great.
Well, I'll tell the audience, we think the market is plenty big for all of us, and certainly for you. We have a very much a gathering perspective when it comes to you would be a competitor to us, but really not, because really what we end up doing is Matt and Eric and you end up talking behind the scenes and helping us find an aircraft for our people and us finding one for you. We think it's good. We think there's plenty of room, and just that knowledge of the marketplace is just helpful in that respect. So we're excited to do the first deal with you, and your reputation over in Europe is just really, really solid, and we're really excited about it.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
Thank you. And I can tell the same about KC Aviation. There are so many people calling me in Europe and saying, hey, I read this post on windshields or on the Dash 21 engine versus the Dash 35 engine. Do you know this guy, Joe Casey? And I was like, of course. If you are buying a PA-46 and you don't know Joe Casey, I mean, then you haven't done your research. So the name Casey is a big name in Europe, and everybody knows you, and of course, Diana, and all the ferry flights that you have done, and the training that you've provided to the community in Europe. You know,
with our podcasts, our videos, everything we put on is public domain, and people in Europe are able to see it. So our name is good. We are coming to Europe in June. We're going to fly over with 10 turbine aircraft. We're coming over there. It's just Americans coming over to Europe to have an experience. But I'll tell you, we really want to do some training over in Europe, and it's something that we're passionate about. When we do that, we're giving you a call, and we're going to come and do something with you.
Yeah.
We just, in Europe, Alexander Pichler and PA 46s in Europe, y'all, it's synonymous. You're doing good stuff over there. You've really done a real nice job building your business and doing a real nice job. We look forward to doing whatever we can. This guy,
he's back again.
He's back again.
Oh,
I don't think he's coming back anymore.
no.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alex, thank you for joining the Malibu Guru Podcast and the KC Aviation YouTube channel. We look forward to doing the first deal with you, and we look forward to working with you. We love to see good people doing good stuff in this space. We need people like you in this space, and I'm happy you're here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for the opportunity to join you on the Malibu Guru Podcast.
You bet.
It's been a pleasure.
You bet. Thanks a bunch.